edition of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, joy to be with them each and every day. And I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck athletics.
A lot to cover coming off a 3-day weekend. The football season here on January 20th is officially concluded. How about that? Congratulations to Indiana, the Ducks, ultimately losing to the team that won it all. A lot of people have asked me, who are you rooting for when you watch that game? Were you rooting for Indiana? Were you rooting for Miami? Miami's got former Oregon head coach Mario Cristobal. Indiana's the team from the Big Ten that ultimately defeated Oregon this season. Do you root for them? And I went, I don't know. Scott's saying yes, root for Indiana. He would have rooted for Indiana. Look, congratulations to Indiana. We're going to talk a lot of basketball today because we've got Oregon men's basketball in action this evening. It is Oregon men's basketball game day. And look, I think that it's a bit of a recalibration now. Dane Altman saying that Nate Biddle going to be out a while. Jackson Shellstad could be out the rest of the season. The injury bug has really bit Oregon this year. Really only about 2 games. And I say about because there was a half of a game where it seemed like all of the big 3 were healthy this year, but realistically, Oregon has never had KJ Evans, Nate Biddle, and Jackson Shellstad all healthy at the same time. Various reasons. For Jackson Shellstad, it's been his hand. Nate Biddle, it's been his ankle. And then for KJ Evans, he was sick. I mean, it happens. So the season has changed. The season has shifted. There will be opportunities for guys that maybe didn't anticipate having as big of opportunities. One that comes to mind is Takai Simpkins. Takai Simpkins now being asked to do a lot more. Waylon, another, being asked to do a lot more because Jackson Shellstad's been hurt and now is hurt again. So we'll break all that down, talk through it, what happened in that game against Michigan. Ducks led by 1 against the number 4 team in the country at halftime. Some good things there. Sean Stewart kind of filled the void, it seemed like. Great things from KJ Evans, who's averaging career highs in basically every category this year. There are some good, but I know an 8-10 record is not what Dana Altman wanted. It's not what the players want. It's not what the fans wanted. The broadcaster sounds good when the team's good, folks. Broadcaster hasn't sounded good at least 10 times this year. But now it's a different feel to the season. You've had so many injuries, it happens. But what are these other stories that we can tell you about? Guys that can step up in different moments. We'll break some of that down today. Women's basketball, here's how I will describe that thriller of a game. Double overtime contest at Wisconsin. But still, Oregon in pretty good position. What do I mean by that? Yeah, they have a losing record in Big Ten play. But there's this thing with the net rankings. So like UCLA, for example, is number 2 in the net rankings. Michigan is number 6. Michigan State is number 9. You know, it's a good conference. Maryland is 12. Now I'm just going to keep going. Iowa is 13. Minnesota is 16. Nebraska is 19. Oregon is 23 in the net. Oregon is 23 in the net. Now, is that a missed opportunity there against Wisconsin in double overtime, a 94-92 final for the Oregon women? Yeah, I think Kelly Graves would tell you that it is. But still, Oregon's a top 25 team in the net. And a top 20 team in the net in Minnesota is in town tomorrow for Oregon women's basketball. That's a 6 o'clock start. Chris Clayton and Bev Smith will have it for you right here on the Oregon Sports Network. So we'll break some of the women's basketball down today. Also, we're going to celebrate National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Track and field. Men's and women's tennis are getting going. This does get into the fun time of year. And for those that are wondering, hey, Joey, what's going on with the transfer portal? what's happening around Oregon football now that the football season has officially ended, which, by the way, next year's national championship game is on January 25th. It's late, seems like. 6 days later than the national championship game this year. Thus is the world that we're living in college football. But to answer the first question, what's it look like for the portal? Well, I think it looks pretty great. Now, again, I can't get into the specifics in the context of this show because until all the paperwork is finalized and everyone's admitted into a program, that's when we can talk about it here on the show. So this feels like a good time to remind everybody that here we sit on January 20th. Well, in a lot of ways, next year's football season begins in just 2 weeks. February 4th is the next signing period for football. What does that mean? Remember, there's the early signing period for high school players, high school student athletes. Then there's the second signing period where you can actually add players. The window is open from the 4th through the 6th. Maybe Oregon will add some more freshmen to this highly touted recruiting class. By every metric, every ranking, and I know the coaches will tell you these don't matter, but at least someone who knows something about recruiting thinks that Oregon's got a top 3 class. We introduced you to a lot of them in December, but now we get to celebrate the entire class, and that'll probably include some of the transfers, getting everything ironed out so that they can be here for spring football. Because remember, the way that Coach Lanning has traditionally operated in the spring football season, there's a few practices before spring break at the end of winter quarter here at the University of Oregon. Then the Ducks practice throughout spring quarter until the spring game, usually sometime in April. And then it's to the off season, if you will. I say that in air quotes for football. To the off season. Football season for 2026 really begins in a lot of ways on February 4th. Now, of course, the coaches and the player development staff, they're all working right now on the transfer portal and filling out the roster, getting to know this new team. And that's what we'll all do come springtime. But it's not long from now that February 4th, we'll be introducing you to that entire Oregon football recruiting class. We got some fun things planned around Oregon. We'll talk with HJ Cohn about that. Good time for me to tell you that HJ Cohn will be with us today, Deputy Athletic Director for the Ducks, talking football, men's basketball, men's golf, and anything else that's on his mind. There's actually something that's been on my mind that I'm going to need to ask HJ about. Stick around for that. All right, men's basketball game day today. Michigan State, the opponent. 6 o'clock start, 5:30 pregame show here on the Oregon Sports Network. FS1's got the TV broadcast here this evening. One of my keys to the game is going to be due similar to what you did against Michigan. Thought offensively Oregon played a little more free. It felt that way anyway to the broadcast team. You know, when your bench is shorter, you're going to have some mistakes and not get subbed out. And I feel like for this team now, it's like, okay, you got to go. You got to play that way. That's what I anticipate against a really talented Michigan State team that, remember, Oregon had on the brink in East Lansing last year. Oddly, Oregon was the opponent when Tom Izzo broke the record for Big Ten conference wins. That's true. Oregon was the opponent. Ducks led in that game. And then it almost felt like basketball destiny that Michigan State was able to come back and win a year ago in East Lansing. So the Ducks have played them tough, and a lot of the Michigan State roster is the same. They're returning a lot of players. That's all coming up this evening. Let's zero in, though, on women's basketball. Hear a little bit from Kelly Graves here. Double overtime at Wisconsin, and what a tough game. And again, I mentioned this a moment ago, that Oregon is still sitting at number 23 in the net. They're 14-6. They're 3-3 on the road. Oregon's 9-2 at home. They're 2-1 in neutral site games. But listen to this record with what's on the line. Oregon's 10-0 in quad 4. The Ducks are 2-0 in quad 3, 1-1 in quad 2, and then here's the one that hurts but is understandable. They're 1-5 in quad 1 games. 3 of those, though, or excuse me, I believe 2 of those are on the road. Maybe 3 now with Wisconsin. Let's see, where's Wisconsin at? Actively searching. Wisconsin 77, so they're just outside of quad 1. You see my point, though? Like, Oregon has been tested to this point. Sure would be nice to get a good one here against Minnesota. Kelly Graves, as you can imagine, frustrated, but a heck of a basketball game. He talked with Chris Clayton after that double overtime loss at Wisconsin.
Now we're be joined by Ducks head coach Kelly Graves to give us his thoughts on what stood out. Coach, an incredible basketball game, but some heartbreak down the stretch. What do you think was the difference?
Well, the little things. The little things. First of all, you got to give credit to Wisconsin. They made big plays. When they counted, we had plenty of opportunities to win this game. We did, and we just didn't take advantage of it. Defensively, a couple of missed assignments late. We were supposed to switch out. Everything was a switch out, and we forgot to switch. I know who it was. I don't want to point him out here, but and then again, give them credit. They hit some tough shots. But at the same time, it shouldn't have come down to that, quite frankly. We had opportunities. We had some turnovers, some missed free throws. We could have won the game, and we just didn't. And I hurt for the team. I hurt for them. They tried hard. We've just got to figure out a way, to make the key plays when we need it. We just didn't tonight.
And you got down 8 in the first half, had a great third quarter, and like you said, could have closed the game out. But how much do you think energy did it take trying to make that comeback and utilize all that energy in the second half?
Well, we controlled the whole second half. When we built the lead to 10, I mean, come on. And then missed assignments. It's like, how many threes does somebody have to make before we close the gap on them and not let them shoot? Make them make it 2. Make them put it on the floor. And we just didn't. There was no sense of urgency defensively on some of our bigger possessions tonight. And, I talked to him about it. I don't understand how they can allow a kid to get 39 points in a game. I don't. That's beyond me. I don't understand that. I guess I just grew up differently. But, we'd have thrown him in the, in the stands.
Right.
You do something.
Yeah.
And, and we didn't. But like I said, we had plenty of opportunities, and we just didn't make the most of it. Now we've dug ourselves a hole. This is a game we need to win on the road. There's certain games you look at and you go, okay, this is one we got to get. So that just means now we've got to go get a game that maybe we weren't expected to or whatever. Not that you don't prepare to win every game, and we're certainly capable of winning every game. But, it's been the same recipe. Been the same recipe in all these close losses. We just let down one person. I don't know how many times they got a second shot just because literally we didn't block out on the perimeter. So they shoot, and they just went and got it and carved out another possession for themselves. So it's not just on one or two players. It's on several. And I've got to do a better job, I guess, as a coach and holding them to a certain standard. I feel that we do. But maybe they don't take me seriously. I'm not sure, but we've got to figure this out. This can't keep happening.
When you have an emotional game like this and come out of it with a tough loss, how do you bounce back, get everybody back on the same page, and just keep grinding?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we have to. We play Wednesday.
Yep.
Tomorrow's an off day, and we have one day to prepare for, a team that's 15th in the net. It never ends. But the outcome's not going to be any different until our kids decide, okay, I'm going to do something about this. I mean, how many open looks did we get to, and at some point, guess what? You got to make them. Yeah. It's crazy. That's the game. Mm-hmm. You got to make them. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we had our opportunities. This is a game that I'll look back at, as coaches, we remember these games forever. Mm-hmm. I'll just look at this one and say missed opportunities, missed opportunities, missed opportunities. And that's, when we go home, it's a long trip. We split every road trip last year with not as good a basketball team. And this year now we're, we just got swept on this road trip. And I guess in some sort of way we split the first one. But, we've got to find a way. We've got to find a way.
Well, we appreciate your time.
All right, buddy.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
That's Kelly Graves, Oregon women's basketball head coach, getting ready for the matchup now tomorrow. You heard him mention it's another top 20 game in terms of net rankings against Minnesota. That's 6 o'clock tomorrow. Coming up tonight, we've been talking men's basketball, getting ready for Michigan State. And up next, we've got HJ Cohn joining us, Deputy Athletic Director. He was just on the road. We'll talk about it all. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working at our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mackin, Deputy Athletic Director HJ Cohn is in the Country Financial Studio. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm great. I have to tell everybody, we have a common phrase around the broadcast world. Longtime partners, Bigfoot Beverages and Pepsi. Well, they have the simplest tagline ever, which is just, go Ducks, drink Pepsi.
Yep.
And what does HJ bring into the studio today? He just says, go Ducks, drink Pepsi.
Those are my guys. Love those guys.
I mean, you understood the assignment today.
But it's not just like on air.
But you're perked up. I mean, you're ready now.
Yeah, absolutely.
See?
Let's go.
I mean, it's either a Pepsi or you bring in your Carl's Jr. I haven't done that in a while, actually. You haven't brought in the Carl's lately.
Don't worry. I'm still a frequent flyer over there.
Got it. Okay. Understood. Yeah. All
right.
Great
deal going on right now, 2 for $5. Crispy
or
spicy chicken.
Did you see that? Did you see that right there?
I had it last week. I mean, I'm not just making it up.
This is, see? You understood the assignment. HJ Cohn joining us. So you do so much with football. You do so much with men's basketball, with golf, with fundraising. You're also a guy who knows about his concessions. More on that later. So football season. Today we're talking, and you and I actually, when we scheduled this, we said, hey, look, let's hope that we have to cancel this one, right? And that's the world that we're in now, where you plan ahead, you have so many different options, and then you settle in on what happens. Well, the football season now officially is over, HJ. So it gives me a chance to ask you, in the ever-changing world that is college athletics, particularly college football, review the year for us from your chair. How did it go?
Yeah, I mean, I think the ever-changing world or landscape, we've heard that, and I don't think that buzzword or boards are going to go away anytime soon, right? It is constantly changing, and there's a lot of activity and noise around people's thoughts, whether it's administration, coaches, fans, and it's all worthy. But for us, what hasn't changed over the years is, despite the games actually ending for, say, football season, is we get ready and we're in the thick of renewals, right? We're in the thick of planning for National Signing Day, celebratory event up at Nike's Philip H. Knight campus now. And so that's coming up. So it really is. I mean, I credit the NFL. They do a good job. It's, year round. They're creating buzz. I don't necessarily know that we're trying to create buzz. We're just trying to operate a business year round. And when you talk about, the actual in season, there's a ton of legwork to prep for game days, and that's department wide, right? That's not just in any individual unit or any individual person by any means. That's a total team effort behind the scenes, more than people realize. That goes from getting the mow ready the night before to cleaning up after the game and getting ready to do it all over again.
Good point.
But that being said, you're into season ticket renewals, season ticket relocations, payment plans. There's a lot of things that go on throughout the year. But that, to your original question, how did it go this year? Excellent. We're fortunate to call Autzen Stadium home. It's no secret we take pride, both internally and externally facing, as a home field advantage, and really a pageantry day. When people come to Autzen, it's not just the game. It's, the plays. It's shout, right? A tradition. It's tailgating beforehand. It's listening to the broadcast on the way home. There's a lot of different things that go into a game day, and people texting each other leading up, hey, what are you bringing for the tailgate this week? Which food item are you on? So when you think about football season, it's a collective effort across the board. I would say this one, for whatever reason, and I don't really know why, went quicker for me than normal, despite how long football season can be, especially this year in the best of ways. We hope that it keeps going longer every year. But overall, we're very fortunate. We had a great slate of opponents that came in and created that home field atmosphere. And then obviously, as we look forward to next year with our renewal deadline for season ticket holders, at least at the end of this month, we look forward to those opponents and some marquee matchups and notable names, but great tests for us to go against, and we'd love nothing more to do it in our backyard.
Well, a lot to unpack with tickets and renewals, and now's a good time for me to mention. A lot of people have asked me, like, hey, when are we getting the schedule for Big Ten football next year? And it's coming. I can just tell you that it's coming. So stay tuned. And I know that does create excitement. I mean, you talk about like how the NFL does that, where there's different announcements all throughout the quote-unquote offseason. Well, this is one of them. You get excited for when those dates are because you can start planning the tailgates already.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, I look at my own schedule, and similar to many others, you're looking months and months in advance, right, and trying to plan your schedule. And what I love to hear is people are planning around Duck football.
That's right.
Right? And so
that's right.
Trying to figure out what can we do a wedding this day? Is it a bye? Is it a Friday night game? Is it a night game? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, I guess I'll say.
Right.
And so, yeah, I agree. I think the schedule should be coming out publicly facing soon. What that means in layman's terms is the non-conference schedule is set. We know those dates already, and what we're waiting for is the conference to determine and roll out publicly all the schools' home and away opponents on specific dates.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we are expecting that hopefully in the near future.
Woo!
And when we do get that, people can start planning and getting excited for football season again.
And you talk about tickets. I mean, that's a huge deal from a planning perspective, right? Give us the deeper dive on tickets with renewals, where things at, what should fans know?
Yeah, so we've been very fortunate and had a very high renewal rate for many years in a row now. That's not to say you can't get season tickets if you're new to town or just saying, hey, I want to get season tickets this year because it works for my family. So we still have those opportunities plenty available. But what we do first is reserve the right for previous, and we'll call it the 2025 football season ticket holders, to reserve their exact same seats just like they had last year. They get first right of refusal. We allow that opportunity up until the end of January. Once we get a yay or a nay, and fortunately, like I said, we've had a lot of yays, anyone that did not renew, we're going to take that back in-house. And what we'll do is we'll upload that inventory into our software, and then we will go online a couple weeks after that in February and say, hey, here's what is available. We will go and order a priority point order, and people that don't want to move their seats at all or they're parking, they don't have to do anything. They just had to renew. They can do a 9-month, well, not now, 9-month payment plan, but they can do an extended payment plan. Or they can go on and say, I've had these 2 seats for a while, but I want to move 1 section over or 5 sections over or whatever it may be. And that'll allow them to do that and create some options. And then you'll go all the way through your database basically and say, okay, who wants tickets or moving tickets, and then who wants to buy additional seats. And that typically concludes in February. And then we'll do the same process if we have enough inventory on the parking front in March.
Multiple benefits of being a season ticket holder. And this is just my, I guess, annual, and I do it a lot more than this. Reminder that depending on how the season goes, sometimes you save a lot of money by buying season tickets.
Yeah, certainly the last 2 years, and we expect that trend to continue. There's been high demand games that maybe a while back people could wait and say, I'm just going to buy that single game ticket. Well, we obviously in the department rely heavily on season ticket holders, and particularly for football, but other sports as well, to remain competitive. And so when we do go on sale with season tickets, we do provide a discount from if you're renewing to if you're a brand new season ticket holder. And then as the secondary market fluctuates constantly based on supply and demand, I would say at least the last 2 football seasons, there has been discount when you add it up collectively on the season front versus a single game front.
And then the other benefit is when we hopefully have, longer postseason runs, right? You want to be a season ticket holder.
Yeah, and even example this year, we hosted the first ever college football playoff game at Autzen Stadium, and season ticket holders had the first right to reserve their seats.
Right, and that's a big deal. Okay, HJ's got his Pepsi in his hand. That means it's time to take a timeout because he's got to perk himself up for what's coming. He doesn't know yet. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network.
Bring it on, baby.
Learfield.
Dear Winter, Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/25.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Winter, Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/25.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. He's HJ Cohn, Duck Deputy Athletic Director. I was going to ask you this after now the second year through the Big Ten. You mentioned like opposing fans coming in. I know you, like me, you have conversations with your colleagues. I talk to opposing broadcasters all the time. Like how cool has that been, just seeing a lot of new fan bases experience what is special about Autzen Stadium? What's been your feedback there?
Yeah, I think, I go back to when we were announced that we're joining the Big Ten and what that would look like. And we hadn't participated in it at that time, obviously. That was months in advance. And so now that we're, like you said, in year two, across the board on all sports, I think it's been a lot of fun. I think I talked to, I'm probably more of an old school traditional guy like many, but I also can factor in the tradition into a conference that's been around for a long time and has a ton of great traditions. And so when we have opposing fans come here or vice versa, and then even talking to some friends that have, dating back to, I'll call it out, my dad, Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12.
Let's go.
Shows you his age. He's even enjoyed it and, enjoyed getting to know fans that are traveling to and from, and likewise for us. I know a lot of our, fans around the country, maybe not necessarily season ticket holders, but alums around the country have enjoyed being able to attend more games, not just football, but beyond that as well, as it's closer to them, whether it's Chicago, New York, and so forth. So I think we're really enjoying it. I think the competition, obviously last night's game, 3 straight national champions on the football front from the Big Ten Conference, shows that the Big Ten is really a powerful and strong conference. Men's basketball, women's basketball, I can go down the line with how competitive of a league it is. And so for us from the fan front, it's been great. We've been, I think, fortunate in the sense that fans from opposing teams on football front have really trended to come to Autzen Stadium and experience what Autzen is. There's a nostalgia out there about Autzen Stadium and this mythical kind of concept of like you got to go there to see it and feel it.
Yeah.
And we've had a ton of fans, and nothing against the other 3 schools on the West Coast, but Eugene presents a unique opportunity for those traveling from the Big Ten traditional schools over to the West Coast and Autzen Stadium and saying, hey, we want to take it in. We've heard it's the loudest ever. We've heard the great traditions. And so for them to come out here and experience that's been pretty cool.
Home field advantage. It's certainly, I mean, just look at all of the numbers in the last 20 years. Oregon has been so good at home. It's in large part due to the fans and the environment.
100%.
That are
fans, students, the alignment from our president down through Rob and through our entire department and saying, what does our game day experience look like and what do we want it to look like? And trying to continue to enhance that on a year-to basis.
And you mentioned playing in these new road venues also. Like, that's fun for us, fun for fans, because they, all around the country, as Oregon's alumni base continues to grow, I think that's been a huge thing to see. And it's kind of proven out now over these 2 years, I feel like. We have that larger sample size of, no, there are a lot of fans. This is a national brand, and it's a lot of alumni even that live in these different parts of the country. Like, it was a big talking point, for example, with Indiana, largest alumni base of any public university, right? Okay. Well, look at Oregon now and the way that this university has grown. There's a lot more alums out there now than there were 20 years ago, which has been fun to be able to connect with all those people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, again, seeing fans, I look at, if we're in a conference road game, right, and you get assigned dedicated sections or blocks of seats within sections, and it's not a massive amount, particularly down low. And so when I look at a road game and we have our fans, down low, and I'm like, that's not our section. Those are fans, Duck fans, buying on the secondary market, saying, hey, I want great seats. I want to be down low. Those are not our seats through our internal block that we are able to sell to our fans, season ticket holders, and donors. And so, yeah, they are coming and showing out for the Ducks.
Love it. HJ Cohn, Deputy Athletic Director. Mentioned men's basketball coming up tonight, Michigan State. And look, Jackson Shellstad, Nate Biddle been banged up. The Ducks have had some inconsistencies. But you know what? Just look at halftime of the Michigan game over the weekend, where Oregon led 41-40. This team could still get some people like a Michigan State tonight.
Yeah, I think, I look back at the last handful of games, and despite the outcomes, if you look behind, peel back the curtains, if you will, you can see continued progress. Yeah. And, I go to Nebraska, a tough place to play. We're right there. You and I were sitting there in the first, as we got close to the end of the first half, and that's kind of when it got away. You look at the Michigan game, played well for a majority of the game and showed that we can remain competitive despite the injuries that Coach Altman and the program had experienced this year. And so I look at that versus, or not looking at it as, it's a loss, it's a loss. No, I look at it as continued progress, and there's still a lot of season left and stuff to build on. So I look at that as, okay, just keep chipping away, and find a way to come together with the guys that you have that are able to play.
Yeah, I'm with you. Talk about how fragile the game is. This is something that Coach Altman talked to the team about. He and I talked about it further. It was 28-28 with about 3.5 minutes to go at Nebraska.
Yep.
A top 10 team right now, top 5 team by some metrics.
Yep.
It's 28-28. Suddenly, turnover, 3, game changes. That's what can happen. And a team that hasn't played together that much, like this Oregon team, that can be tough. That can be challenging. So I'll tell you, I know fans, like, it's frustrating. Believe me, the team is frustrated by it. You're going to see some growth from guys that are increasing their roles, and that wasn't part of the plan at the beginning of the year at this point. Could happen tonight.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that's where, Coach is exceptional, right? You're not always going to get the hand you're dealt, or at least you thought you were going to get dealt. And what he's able to do and mix and match and plug in guys where they can excel is we've seen it many, many times before. So I'm super excited for tonight. A great team, Michigan State, coached by a legendary coach and Coach Izzo.
2 Hall of Famers.
No doubt. And so to see them kind of go head-to-head is certainly exciting for me. We're going to hopefully have a good atmosphere tonight and come out firing.
6 o'clock at Matthew Knight Arena. You're also the sport administrator for men's golf. So now I got to ask, what are you shooting these days?
It's not good.
Oh!
Don't have enough time to play.
Has it improved since you became the men's golf administrator? Really?
No.
Have you gotten worse?
Just depends on the day.
I thought for sure just being around all of the golf knowledge, it would have gone up.
Yeah.
No, the score would have gone down.
There you go. Now you're catching on.
See, so no,
it hasn't. But it's a fun group to be around. We have somewhat of a young team in a sense, and so they do qualifiers at practice, if you will, to see who's going to go travel for the said upcoming tournament. And so I do follow pretty closely on the scores. And there's a lot of young talent, which I know Coach Martin and Coach Q are really excited about. They kick off kind of their winter-spring season here in a couple weeks and start their tournament schedule. And so this is kind of, you go through the fall, and certainly not a warm-up period by any means, but you're trying to figure out, especially with new guys coming in and losing some veteran players potentially, figuring out who's going to be those guys that stand out that you're going to say, hey, when we get to postseason, here's who we're going to ride with.
Yeah.
And so to see those guys come and grow, and golf, you can imagine, it's a tough sport physically more than I think people realize, but more so mentally than anything. And so to see the growth of some of the younger guys from fall till now, and that to continue to carry that growth into the spring as we get closer to regionals and postseason is certainly exciting.
February 5th, the season begins in Hawaii. Good scheduling by Coach Martin. Good scheduling.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that one.
You're not going to go?
Oh, yeah.
That's not the one you're going on?
Yeah, no, I don't think that one justifies.
Yeah, I get it. HJ Cohn, final thoughts. Okay, this recently came back up. It resurfaced, if you will.
Okay.
So I had to just inform you at least that this was brought up. If you could have 5 sauces and only 5 sauces for the rest of your life, what would the 5 be? And I just wanted you to know that it came up again. People still talk about the debate that you sparked about a decade ago.
Gosh.
That's
concerning for the people that are still bringing that up.
Well, so I have to ask. I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember how it came up and why you brought it up on the show. So now I'm asking you, do you remember why it came up and how?
No.
I don't either.
No clue how it came up. Must have been a slow day at the office or
Slow
something.
day at the office. It was the ultimate water cooler debate, though.
I do remember being very passionate about that. I can confirm that.
Do you remember your 5?
I probably have a good sense of them. There were some rules of engagement parameters I think I put in.
Yes.
To confine what I.
The definition.
Yeah.
The definition was important. It is spreadable and adds flavor. That is considered a sauce.
Yeah. It's a fun topic.
Yeah.
Do it over the holidays or something.
If you ever need that, anybody, you just say, hey, HJ, 5 sauces. Ketchup, mustard, or not sauces. I don't.
It was condiments, I believe, was the actual term.
Was it condiments? Yeah, that's right. It was condiments. Yeah, if you could have 5 condiments.
Come on, get your facts right.
No, you're right about that. It was condiments. The sauce debate has really become, if you had a chicken tenders basket that had 5, let's say 4 chicken tenders and fries, how many sauces would you need?
Like to go through?
Yeah.
Oh, quite a bit.
Yeah, see, I'm with you. I'm 2 sauces per tender.
You got to dip
because they're like the chicken strips, like a chicken strip basket at the ballpark. I need 2 per tender.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that.
That's why the sauce, condiment, you're right. It's condiments. Peanut butter's a condiment, by the way.
Okay.
He's HJ Cohn, Deputy Athletic Director, kind enough to join us.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you.
Great to see you. Look forward to seeing you at the game tonight.
You didn't think that you were going to come back a decade ago, did you?
No. I did not.
5 condiments. If you can only have 5. Think about it. Salsa. Salsa's a condiment.
I'll give you that. That's fine.
Yep. You are the czar.
You're pretty limited in what you can mix that with, so not a great pick, but that's fine. That's up to you.
I like salsa.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's HJ Cohn, Deputy Athletic Director. The slash on the business card once upon a time. Condiment czar. We're going to come back after this, get you ready for men's basketball tonight on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Thanks, boy.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this wayward son?
Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. On his way out, HJ just reminded us that after we continued that debate, he's like, remember, we gave you butter and olive oil because those are spreadable and adds flavor. They're generic enough. We're just going to give those to you. We got one already. Salsa peanut butter, top of the list. Yeah, because I started bringing up, like, you're never going to have a peanut butter and jelly again? What about jelly? What about guacamole? See, we start to get a little deep cut here. Question also today. Is the NIT a realistic goal for the men's team? Maybe. I mean, look, the team's banged up. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, the two of the best players, I don't even know. Two of the best players in the Big Ten Conference are hurt with Nate Biddle and Jackson Shellstad. How many teams could weather their maybe two of their best players being hurt? How many teams could lose two all-conference guys and potential All-Americans and weather the storm? I mean, there's not many. There's not many. So, look, is that a realistic goal? Maybe. Maybe. I could see it going Oregon's way as the Ducks settle in on a rotation. Because that's something now that Oregon will have to do, is settle in on what that rotation will be. And I can tell you this, a guy who exemplifies what I think potentially could be now that there is that sort of opening, if you will. I mean, there is. Like, there are minutes available and points to be scored that maybe weren't there when guys like Jackson Shellstad and Nate Biddle were healthy. So what happens against Michigan? Sean Stewart scores 22 points. He goes 10 of 14 from the floor with 8 rebounds in 30 minutes. If you get more of those games from Sean Stewart, then yeah, the Ducks are going to start beating some people again. Sean Stewart met with the media after the Ducks were up 1.5 against number 4 Michigan, ended up losing 81-71. Sean Stewart.
What's just the mindset of this team right now when it looks like you maybe lost Jackson for the season, you got Nate out for a long time? I mean, do you guys just kind of come together as a group and try to reset goals or anything like that?
Yeah, we had a team meeting with just the players, and we basically just said in the meeting, like, everybody just got to come together, next man up. You know, nobody's going to play less hard against us because Nate and Jackson are out, so we just have to play harder than ever. And I think, you know, in the first half we did that, and spurts in the second half we just got to put a full game together, and I think we showed ourselves that, you know, we can hang with anybody when we do that, and that's just the mindset we have going into the rest of the season.
You know, there are no moral victories in sports, and it doesn't soften the loss, but does that show you guys a path for success the rest of the year?
Yeah, we were, I mean, obviously not happy with the loss, but there was a lot of growth in that, especially compared to the last game we had versus a really good team. I think we came out with a lot of energy and played together, and we were more connected in our huddles during dead balls and things like that. And just things like that we got to carry on. You know, I've been on a team my freshman year that went to the Elite Eight, so I tried to bring some stuff from that we had in that team that worked and try to bring it to this team, and I think that it's going to help us going forward.
Dana said he thought maybe you guys ran out of gas a little bit in the second half. A lot of people playing a lot of minutes.
Yeah, I think that's partly true, but you know, we gotta push through that, and that can't be an excuse because, like you said, we're shorthanded, so a lot of guys have to step up.
What are some of those things that you're trying to bring from your freshman year team to this team?
Just having leadership, and that's me, because you know I've been in college for 3 years now, and just having connectivity, you know, always talking. When we're on the defensive end on the other side, can't have coach doing all the talking for us. And just, like I said, with the huddles and things like that, just being together as a team and not giving up on the game and just keeping our heads up.
You had a career high 22 points today. How did it kind of feel to kind of get that despite the loss? You know, what was working for you?
I mean, it felt great. You know, my teammates, they trusted me to get the ball, you know, and, you know, with Nate out, we needed somebody to get some more points than Jackson. So me and KJ had to step up. And I'm just happy my teammates trusted me to get the ball in the situations, late game, you know, early in the game, it got me going. And then me having some points led to get them some buckets. So I'm just happy that, you know, a lot of guys got involved this game.
You gonna add that 3-point shot to your repertoire?
I have to, man. I have to.
He did make his first 3 in an Oregon uniform and just the second 3 of his career. So, look, I appreciated that comment, all those comments from Sean Stewart, because the season is different now. So it changes with the certainty that guys are out. The Ducks have known internally, right, that guys are going to be out at different times, but now we know. Everyone has an idea, and so the rotation changes. So there is that void that can be filled by a guy like Sean Stewart. KJ Evans, who, again, is averaging career highs in like every category this year. So I hope that now for fans, and I'm saying this maybe even out loud for my own benefit as the broadcaster here, shift that focus. Like, this could be a development time for a lot of these players, many of which have years of eligibility left. So let's not forget that and how valuable that could be here moving forward. Let's get a timeout a little earlier than normal. We'll come back here a bit from Coach Altman getting ready for Oregon and Michigan State tonight. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself.
Stuck Inside, represented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. 6 o'clock tonight, Oregon men's basketball hosting Michigan State. 5:30, our pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network. Just heard a little bit from Sean Stewart, and you can imagine that following that Michigan game where the Ducks showed some bright spots, Coach Alman, he knows that there's some good things here, right? But also, you want to win the game. You'll hear all of that in Coach Altman postgame from the weekend.
Well, the first half, we had 20 deflections, and our activity was really good. Put them on the free throw line too much. That's where we really got beat. 22-11, free throws. Had twice as many attempts as we did. So, we got beat at the free throw line, and some bad fouls the first half. And, our effort stats, points off turnovers, second chance points, we beat them bad on. So really pleased with that. But, they out-rebounded us, and, I thought for the most part our activity was good. Their length bothered us offensively. We didn't run much that second half way. We didn't get into our sets and had some really bad possessions. But, again, I can't fault the effort. I thought the guys played hard, especially the first half. I thought we ran out a little gas. TK had to play 39, and, KJ at 36, Sean 30-some. It's a lot of minutes with that kind of physicality in the game.
Earlier in the week, you said that this game was going to be a character test. What did this show you about your team's character, and how would you describe it?
Well, very pleased. After the second half at Nebraska, where we kind of gave into it. I thought the guys really responded, and even when things didn't go well, the first half, I think we got down 10 or so the first half. The guys stayed with it, and we didn't give ourselves a chance. Making some mistakes defensively that gave them some good looks, and they knocked them down, and a couple transition baskets that, we didn't respond very well. Our connection defensively the second half, I just didn't think was as good as it was the first half. And so, but again, we had a lot of guys. Luke played 7 minutes, and, Big E, we just had a couple chances. Dev had a chance for a tip in. He missed it. Big E missed a tip in. We needed some plays like that. Sean offensively was really good, really aggressive today, which had his best offensive game by far. So, again, some good things to draw from. Disappointed with the result. Not disappointed with the effort, though. And I thought the crowd really was good, gave us some energy. But we didn't have enough fight or firepower that second half to get it done.
What did Kwame being aggressive offensively, especially attacking the rim, kind of inspire you guys in the first half?
No, I thought he did a good job. I thought he made some good plays. No doubt, him driving the ball at the basket. I thought he had a couple opportunities to make some plays, that he kind of took. Way had a couple where he penetrated. He could have kicked it for some wide open threes, so we could have got something. I thought going into the game, we'd have to hit 10 or 11 threes just because they're so big inside with Mara and that, and we just didn't get the good looks. We shot 33%, but, you're going to have to maybe go 10 for 24 or something to beat them, so we weren't on that type of opportunity. We had a couple good looks that we missed, but we didn't have the looks that I thought we could have had with some penetration kick.
Luke had a rebound to set up a basket in the first half. Drew hits a 3 in a pretty big spot in the second half. Guys who really put in the work behind the scenes. What is it like? Obviously, the result's not what you wanted, but what is it like to see those guys kind of get a chance to step up and contribute like that?
Well, I thought, Luke did a good job in his 7 minutes. He got caught on the perimeter. Guy blew by him one time, but no, Luke's in practice all the time, and he came to me when when Nathan went down and just said, "Hey, Coach, if you need me to play, I'll play." And so I thought he really gave us 7 good minutes. You know, and Drew's been solid. You know, he had a bad turnover there, but no, Drew's done a good job. You know, he's solid, and he can get us into some sets, and probably going to see more action.
What can this game do from a confidence builder moving forward of a path? There is success possible if you play right the way you're trying to.
Oh, obviously Sean will feel good about it. KJ, I mentioned Dev and Des. They're going to have to pick it up. We're going to have to get some more perimeter, scoring from those guys. But no, I think it shows them if they play really hard and stay connected on the offensive end and the defensive end, they're going to give themselves an opportunity. We lost 32 points, and our rebounding and assist leader, it's an adjustment, so guys are going to have to step up and play a bigger role. But, we're definitely going to need to get some more production out of our wing spots.
Did you do anything specifically to get Sean more involved offensively?
Not really. He just had some more opportunities driving the ball at the basket. He got a couple down, and that really helped him. So no, there were some different sets. One of the patterns we run just for getting some ball movement, trying to get it, he took advantage of that a couple times, but he went nose to the goal, hit a jumper and hit a 3, which, are 5 points that he hasn't been giving us, but the rest of them were inside, and, he was pretty active in there.
Here's for more of that tonight. Sean Stewart, who Coach Alman was talking about there, career high in points. And again, you lose the production and the minutes from Jackson Shellstad and Nate Biddle. So now how does that filter out to the rest of the team? We'll have more clarity as the Ducks figure out that chemistry here tonight against Michigan State. Game day, Oregon men's basketball, Fox Sports 1. Also a 5:30 pregame show right here on the Oregon Sports Network. Elsewhere, join us for our annual National Girls and Women in Sports Day Clinic before the women's basketball game against Ohio State at Matthew Knight Arena on February 8th. Oregon coaches and student athletes will lead fun activities across multiple sports for kids. Tell you what, this is one of our best reviewed events of the year. I hope that everyone will join us Sunday, February 8th at noon. The camp starts at 10:30, open to children 6th grade and under. GoDucks.com/NGWSD. NGWSD, National Girls and Women in Sports Day, our clinic coming up on February 8th. We'll talk more about that coming up. See you at Matthew Knight Arena tonight.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our